If you are someone who struggles with being consistent at the gym or with your nutrition, then this video is going to be for you. Now, I'm going to get a little bit vulnerable here because I think it's important in order for me to convey the message that I want. I need you to fully understand where I am in my life and how, even though I am consistent with the gym and I am consistent with my nutrition and I have the physique that I want, this lesson that I'm about to teach you is still applicable to my life, as well as it will be yours. Once you finish this video, you'll understand a lot more on how to eventually get consistent with the gym, with nutrition, and as a matter of fact, with anything else in life. Now, I've been going out with my girl for just over a year and a half. It's going to be our 2 years in August. We just celebrated in February our 18 months. And within this time, there have been a few instances where I have felt like a massive pussy in front of her. Now, this isn't even something that I talk to her about because it's not really a feeling I'd like to let out into the world. Like, I would rather keep the feeling to myself and put it in the back of my mind rather than the forefront of my mind. But it is important to put it at the forefront of my mind for many reasons. Now, I'm not going to talk about the specific things that actually happened during those times of when I did feel like a pussy, but put it this way, there were times where there wasn't a fight that I got into, but there was an argument or I don't know really other ways to explain it, but there were situations where I needed to man up a little bit more. Not necessarily fight, but have the confidence to back it up if it was needed. Now, I plan to marry this woman and have children with her. And so in order for me to be able to protect them if necessary, I'm going to need to know how to defend myself and also, of course, how to defend them. Now, where I am in my life right now, I'm 27 and I haven't got a fucking clue how to fight. I have no idea how to throw a punch, how to defend myself. I just don't know, because I never learned it when I was a kid. It never occurred to me growing up that I needed to know these skills. And furthermore, as you could tell, I've been busy focusing more on my training in the gym rather than with learning how to fight. Now, I have had, over the past 6 months, maybe even 1 year, I have had about 10 to 20 sessions with a coach I work with the coach I work with at the gym, at the gym I work at, just one-on-one sessions learning how to box. If you would have seen my Instagram stories, you would have seen me post. I would have posted it a few times. Now, the thing is with these sessions is that I was doing them weekly. I was doing 2 a week, then it turned into 1 a week, then it turned into 0 a week. Why? Because I lost the motivation to keep going. I remember we were doing 2 a week for like 4 weeks. 1 week I did 1 session, the next week I did 0, and then all of a sudden I've kind of like forgot about it, forgot that I need to learn how to fight in order to protect myself and protect my woman and my future children. And I just kind of like, again, put it in the back of my mind, forget about it. It's just got other things that are taking a priority on my time and what I need to do in my life or with my life. But these situations that I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to speak about the specific things that happened, but these happened in front of my girl. So she seen how I reacted. She saw what had happened. And so this drive kind of like started to increase within. I kept thinking, okay, I need to learn how to fight. I need to learn how to fight. I need to learn how to fight. But I still kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. So it's like, what the fuck, bro? You say you want one thing, but then your actions are saying something completely different. And I always say, there is a massive difference between wanting something and wanting something. Everybody can think about what they want. Everybody can say what they want. Everybody can tell everyone what it is they want. But if your actions do not align with what it is that you so-called want, then you obviously do not want it enough. Now, last month, I decided to go to a boxing class because my mate who does boxing just told me that you'll actually learn a lot in classes. It's actually better than one-on-one coaching to begin with, because one-on-one is more like refining your skills and becoming a better boxer, whereas going to a boxing class is more like the nitty-gritty, just get yourself in there, spar a few people, whatever. And so last month I went to a boxing class, and I remember I walked in and I was like, I'm pretty pumped for this. And I went in and it was just so much cardio. Bear in mind, cardio is not my best friend and cardio is not my fucking strongest point either. I do 10 minutes of skipping every day, and I started doing 1 run per week, so really not that much. But we're doing non-stop cardio, burpees, skipping, running, high knees, everything you can think of. And I'm in this session and I'm just thinking, like, what? Half an hour in, 45 minutes in, bear in mind it's an hour and a half. I'm thinking, what the fuck am I doing here? I need to get out. I need to get out right now, because right now I want to, I'm not going to say it because I don't know the YouTube guidelines and everything. I want to, you know what I'm saying? And so that's how bad it was. That I was fucking not happy being there. And then they asked me at the end, they were like, how'd you find it? I was like, yeah, it was all right. They were like, you're going to come back? I was like, well, I don't know. I think I need to get my cardio up. And he was like, yeah, well, this is the place to do it. And I didn't want to come back, but I knew it was good for me to come back. So in my head, I was like, all right, yeah, I'll come back next week. This was on a Wednesday night. We get to next Wednesday, and I was like, should I go? Should I not go? Well, the following Wednesday, I actually can't make it. Got some Jewish holidays, which means I'm literally not going to be able to drive there or anything. I'm going to be at my girl's house for dinner. And so, if I'm not going next week, I might as well just not go this week. When I start, I'll start properly. Coming up with basically any fucking excuse not to go. I could have went, took a week off the next week, and gone back the next week after that. Build some fucking consistency, right? Better than nothing. Better than fucking nothing, mate. And so I didn't go that week, didn't go the second week, didn't go the third week, and then it got to the 4th week, which it is Thursday today. It was Wednesday yesterday. And over the past few days, I have barely slept. Like, I am very sleep deprived right now. Last night, slept about 3 hours, was working till late, I think till 2:30 in the morning, woke up at like 5:30, if that, maybe even earlier, don't even know at this point. Didn't even manage to get my fucking morning routine in this morning, because it meant sleeping like no hours, and I wasn't actually I wasn't going to choose the morning routine over more sleep in this given situation. Normally I would, but I wasn't going to go from 3 hours sleep to 1 hour sleep. The night before that, I've been doing my morning routine every day. The night before that, slept about 4 hours. The night before that, slept about 5 hours. So I've not been sleeping a lot, and it's not something that I preach at all. I tell all of my guys that train with me, 7 hours minimum. If you're not getting 7 hours on a day-to-day basis, this is something we track in the program, then we're going to have to understand why this is happening and what we need to do moving forward, because you cannot continue like this in order to get the results that you want. I always look to optimize everything, and if you're not getting 7 hours sleep minimum, you are definitely not optimizing. And so I do not preach this, so don't take this as fucking gospel to start, sleeping less. But I've just been so busy with work, so non-stop with my business and trying to improve my program, my service, the fulfillment side of things, but then also my marketing, trying to better my understanding of myself so I can better portray, what it is that I actually do, and be able to teach the things that I need to teach to you in order to give you the value for you to actually do something with that information and start changing your life. So I'm spending all this time, so it just means a little bit less sleep for now. I'm sure next week, I hope I will start to increase my hours again. But yesterday was Wednesday, and I have never in my life felt so tired. Like, I'm tired right now. I was tired 2 days ago. Yesterday I was more than tired. Yesterday I was physically, mentally drained. I could barely talk. I could barely communicate properly. I was at the gym in the morning with my girl. She was like, "Is everything all right?" I was like, "Babe, like this is what I was like, babe, I'm like really tired, like I'm knackered, yeah." And like that's literally how I was speaking. And throughout the whole day I was working, I was on calls with clients, and they were good calls. However, I just wasn't my full self. I wasn't my 100% self yesterday. It was a really, really rough day. And these days I don't, like, rarely ever happen, if at all. And so it's Wednesday, and that means it's the day for the boxing class. Now, do I go with the way I feel, with no energy, feeling lethargic, knowing that it's probably going to be a bad session, put it off again? Or do I put it off again? Those are the two options. And it goes back to what I said prior. How bad do you want it? Do you want it, or do you want it? Because those are two completely different things. And guess what? I was there for an hour and a half. Could barely raise my fucking hands. It was the most embarrassing performance you would ever see in your whole entire life. If there was a video of me in that boxing class, it would have gone viral for all of the wrong reasons. People would have seen that physique and been like, "See, it's not all about having muscle," and start properly taking the piss out of me. Now, I've been tired before. I've been knackered before. But this shit was next level. My whole central nervous system had shut the fuck down. Like, I don't know if you ever played one of those like fighting games on the PlayStation or whatever, and they have the bars at the top. They have the two bars. The two guys are fighting each other, and it shows how much energy they have. First and foremost, I started the session with only half a fucking bar of energy. Secondly, for most of this session, we were just punching the bag. Now, I've got a punching bag at home, and in my mind, I'm thinking, why the fuck am I here punching a fucking bag when I can do it at home. I've got a fucking punching bag at home. Why the fuck am I here? But then it occurred to me, brother, you're not even punching your bag at home. So what if you have a punching bag at home? Does that mean you're doing anything with it? Going to a boxing class is actually keeping you accountable to hitting the fucking punching bag, to punching the bag. That's why it's called a punching bag. If you've got one and you're not using it, what are you trying to say? You got one, and what? Cool. You also got a gym membership. If you're not using it, doesn't fucking matter. You know how most of the gyms make money? Not from the people that go, from the people who buy a membership and never go. Because it's always, I'm going to start next month. I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to start when January hits. It's only £20. It's only £30. I will get there. If I have the membership, at least I can go, you know, once every... Brother, the shit is right in front of you. You're not going to go. The boxing bag is in my garden. I'm not going to punch it. So that is why you go to the boxing class. That is why you get a coach. You do this shit to keep you accountable. Every single guy that has joined my program has always said to me that the biggest benefit for them of being on my program is the accountability side of things. Because they know what to do. They know they need to get in the gym. They know they need to hit high protein, low calorie. It's not an information problem. It's an execution problem. And if the procedures to keep someone accountable are not there, then they're not going to fucking do it. Like, I'm not going to fucking hit the punching bag. I've hit the punching bag once this week for about 5 minutes. And I quit. I give up. But there, I was doing it for a whole fucking hour. Why? Because I paid someone. That shit kept me accountable. When you're financially invested, you are emotionally invested. You want it more. It's just science. It's just the way of life. If you buy a £50,000 car compared to a £500 car, which one do you think you're going to care more about? If you get a scratch on the £500 car, you won't care. In fact, you'll probably go and get your key and re-scratch it just for bants. You don't give a shit about it. You don't care about the state of the car. But when you put serious money down, brother, this is like fucking Bible now. £50,000 car. Are you joking? I'm staying away from every car that I see in a car park. If there are 200 spots in the car park, I'm parking right on the other side where there's no cars, because I don't want to be close to the supermarket where everyone likes to get close to the supermarket, and then someone could open the door and hit my car. You're going to take extra care because you've invested a lot of money that you've worked hard for, money that you could do so many good things with. Like, it's important to you, the money that you've spent on this car. And so, like, you wonder why coaching cost a lot of money. That's because it's important for you to be invested. Of course, there are so many other reasons why, because being in the best physical and mental shape you have ever been in is worth much more to you than a couple £1,000. If you woke up today, tomorrow even, and you were consistent with the gym, you had a whole new outlook on life. You were lean, you had a decent amount of muscle, you were confident in the way you looked and the way you felt, you were disciplined. Do you know how these attributes would carry over into other areas of your life? Couldn't even begin to explain. I can go way back to when I was at university and I wasn't gymming. F that, I was just getting fucked up all the time. That's what I was there for. I mean, I dropped out after 1 year. It was obviously never for me. But what was I doing there? Not going to the gym. And guess what? Not getting girls either. Because I didn't have the confidence in myself to even go chat to a girl. But guess what? I'm with the love of my life right now. I am the luckiest man alive. And I truly believe that. God has blessed me with a beautiful person. Not beautiful just the face, not just the body, not just spiritually, emotionally. She is just top. And I'm so lucky to have her in my life. But the thing is, I honestly don't believe that I would have been in this opportunity, would have had the opportunity to meet her if I wasn't working on myself and becoming a better version of myself. Because if you are not working on yourself and have leveled up, then how do you expect to get somebody else of a higher standard? I heard this thing once. It was a single man and he wanted a girlfriend. He wanted a wife. And he was looking for one, but he could just never find one, and he felt so lonely. And so he went to his friend. He said, "What do I do? I need help. Can you please help me find someone?" And so he says, "Take this piece of paper, take this pen, write down all of the things you're looking for in a girlfriend." And he starts writing down good looking, happy, positive, nice body, good values, good morals, good ethics. A massive list of like all these things that he's looking for in a girl, in a wife. He says, "When you're done, bring the list back." So that's what he did. He brought the list back. Now at the top of the list, it said, "My girlfriend's attributes," something like that. And so the man takes it back, his friend takes it back from his hand, gets a pen, and he crosses out girlfriends. And now it just says, "My attributes." You cannot expect to find someone of a higher standard if you have not set those standards for yourself. Going to the gym and being disciplined is so much more than just having the physique. This shit is just a byproduct. Don't get me wrong, I love flexing. I love the fact that I've got abs and I can fucking bring out my huge biceps and walk on the streets topless and feel confident. I fucking love it. Be lying to you if I said I didn't. But I've learned a lot more from the gym than just how to push weights and how to eat high protein, or how to eat low calories. Like all these tips and tricks. Like fucking eating raspberries and shit. I fucking love this shit, man. I used to hate raspberries, but I fucking love this shit now. And so you learn a lot more from this shit than just pushing weights. Now let's go back to the boxing sesh, because it's important. So I know I went on a tangent, but there was a reason for that. We'll go back to the boxing sesh. I'm boxing, I'm throwing my hands, bash, bash. I wasn't even as smooth as this, trust me. I was like, it was disgraceful. It was bad. And like I said, my energy already started at halfway on the fucking tank. And every punch, I just felt it getting lower and lower and lower and lower until it was right at the fucking bottom. And I was dead. Like, this wasn't normal fatigue. I've been to the boxing class the month prior. I've been on runs that have been really hard. This was not normal fatigue. This was my central nervous system telling me that I need to fucking go to sleep, mate. And what I do on the same night, slept 3 hours. It's all right, my central nervous system's back, luckily. But I do need more sleep. Now, why did I go? Why did I go to the gym, to the boxing gym, even though I had no energy, I knew I was going to be shit at boxing, I felt lethargic, I had a fucking awful day in terms of energy levels. You know, any logical man would say, don't go, save yourself for next week, get an early night tonight, it's probably going to be best for you. Why did I go then? Why did I go? I will tell you why I went. When I was living in Israel in between 2021 and 2023, something like that, I was there for just over 2 years. I'd gone through one of the hardest periods of my life. I had just moved out to work with my dad on this new business, left a job as an estate agent, which I really loved, but I was only there for 2 months, but I agreed 9 deals, so I was pretty fucking good for someone who was new. But this was my new purpose, the estate agent job, but I moved out to Israel. Started this new business with my dad. And I just fucking hated it. It wasn't for me. It wasn't something that sat with me well. I didn't feel like I had a purpose. I didn't feel like it was even any of my idea, and I just went there for money. And this is a very shallow reason to go, for money. But it's true. It's the way I looked at life prior to where I am right now. And so I went through really tough times of depression, of being down, or being sad, of having no hope. Really tough times. And I can tell you a few instances where I felt like I was at my lowest. But you know what they say? When you're at your lowest point, the only way is up. I didn't know that at the time. At the time, I was lying in bed in the middle of the day with the lights off. Just lying there, not watching TV, not on my phone, not thinking about anything apart from the fact that I am depressed and I don't know what the fuck is going to happen with my life. I feel like shit and I don't know what to do. So, there was only one thing I could do. The lowest hanging fruit. And this was to get out of bed and get the fuck out of my room. That was where it started. That was where it began. And then after that, it was to get out of the apartment and to go outside, get some sunlight. That's where it went next. And where did it go after that? Now you're outside, go on a walk. And I need to make it clear that this didn't happen in one go. It wasn't like, oh, I'm depressed, let me get up and go on a walk. Like, no. I'm talking about this shit happened over time, like over weeks, over months, over years. Why? Because it was all about the micro progressions that I was making in my life. Because I was in a place where I felt so fucking shit, and I had to do something about that feeling, and I couldn't fucking be the best version of myself, but I can make a small improvement. And over time, I started stacking these small wins, and that's how I got to where I am today. After going on a walk, I was like, all right, let me go to the gym. Start working on myself. Going to the gym, all right. Start focusing on nutrition. You know, tracking calories, that seems to be the thing that works, right? I don't know. Anything to fucking make me feel better. That feeling that I had when I lay there in bed is a feeling that I never want to feel again. That pain, that fear of going back there, that is what got me to the gym yesterday. That is why I went to the boxing class yesterday. Because this feeling of feeling defenseless as a fucking 27-year-old man who cannot defend himself for the love of his life, for his future children. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. I'm going to learn how to fuck somebody up. And I'm not saying this because I want to fucking start fights. No. Because in those situations where I felt like a pussy in front of my girl, I only felt like a pussy, not because I didn't raise my hands and knock the fella out. I felt like a pussy because I knew that if push went to shove, he would fuck me up in front of my girlfriend. And so I felt like a pussy, and it fucking showed on my face. That feeling, the feeling of that happening again, I do not want to experience that, and I hope none of you experience that. It's not about knocking people out. It's about knowing that you can. Because in any given situation, if you need to diffuse the moment, if you know how to knock the motherfucker out, you'll be much better at diffusing it, rather than looking like a fucking bitch. That's why I went to the boxing class yesterday. I'm not going to turn into some fucking fighter within the next 24 hours, but it's the lowest hanging fruit. It's the fucking first thing that I can think of to do. So I fucking did it. And guess what? I've messaged my mate. And on Friday, guy I went to college with, he boxes. And I'm meeting him at the park. We're going to do some boxing together. This is how it starts, boys. But you know where it comes from? It comes from fear of staying the same. That feeling of where you are right now, if you don't like it, I need you to be aware of how bad you don't fucking like it. Because once you dissect that feeling, once you realize that you don't want that feeling ever again, you will begin to make micro progressions and start adding and start stacking small wins. You start building routine. You start waking up earlier. You start tracking your food. If you don't like, if you hate where you are, use that fucking pain as your motivator. Use it. Use the depression, whatever you have, the depression, the insecurity, the feeling of embarrassment of where you are. Use that shit to your advantage. Because now's the time. Because you're just going to get older and shit's just going to get harder. The older you get, the more responsibilities you have, the less time you have. Now is the time. There is never going to be a better time than now. That's how you get consistent at the gym and with your nutrition. And guess what, boys? It's a fucking rainbow waiting for you on the other side. Because I can tell you right now, I don't go to the gym to not feel like how I felt laying in that bed. I go to the gym because I fucking love it. And it's a part of who I am. But I tell you, the boxing shit's hard for me. The boxing is definitely hard for me. Finding the time to do it, prioritizing it, understanding that this shit is very important. Call yourself a man and you can't fucking fight? Motherfucker. It's not good enough. So I in this scenario, with the whole boxing situation, trust me, I'm using that pain. But I know from experience that if I do it long enough, if I start stacking these small wins, what happens is you start moving the goalpost further and further away in a good way. Right now it's, one class on a Wednesday, then it's one-to-one boxing session on a Friday, do the same next week, and then it kind of becomes a little bit normal, like 2 sessions a week. Okay, like call up your mate, yo, you can do a sparring session Tuesday night. Yeah, let's do it. As you begin your journey and you continue using that pain, that fear that you have inside of you of staying the fucking same, you begin to become that version of yourself over time. And I'm sure that's what's going to happen. The same shit happened with the gym. I used that pain. I've been doing it long enough, and my life has completely changed because of it. Now I've got to look to the next thing. What's important to me, and what the fuck do I have to do to not feel like a fucking pussy in front of my girl ever again. Alright, boys. Hope you liked the video. It's good to get some shit off my chest sometimes. I appreciate you for watching this. Stay in the fucking journey. Speaking of the journey, if you have been watching the Instagram stories, been posting a bunch there, just showing my day-to-day. Spoke about this boxing stuff briefly on my story last night. And just continue to show you what I'm getting up to and how I live my life. So if you're interested, follow me on the Insta. Feel free to send me a DM if you need some help with anything. If you don't know, what's the lowest hanging fruit? Where do I start? Send me a message. Or even better, you can book a call with me. I'll stick a link in the description down below. You can book a call, you can ask me a bunch of questions. We can talk about one-on-one coaching and see if you're a good fit for the program, if it makes sense for you to hop on. Alright, boys. We'll talk soon. I'll see you in the next video. Love.